Yeah.
No,
Hello, Jordan.
Say it now. Say it
Can
now.
I use
Hello. What is going on, guys?
Okay, Grant.
tutorial?
Now you, Grant.
I use
There, there.
Okay.
I need you to help me with math.
Okay, on 28 it says, if Orlando missed 5 out of 40 on the test, what percent did he get right? So 5 out of 40 sounds like a what?
5 over 40.
That sounds like a fraction, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be what fraction he got wrong. So what's the fraction? This is like how we grade our papers, right? What fraction did he get right?
5 minus 40.
40.
How much did he get right? Like we're grading.
That's terrible.
Oh,
Like 5.
This is-
Wait, are we looking for the percent?
so 35.
He got 35 out of 40.
Alright.
Okay. The question though is what percent did he get right? Like what was his grade on the paper? So how do we do that? Divide. Make sure you change your answer into a percent. Move the decimal 2 places to the right.
Who names a child Orlando, though? Like,
That's what I'm
So, wait, Mr. Johnson, just supposed to divide 35 and 40?
Mr. and Mrs. Florida. That's terrible joke. What?
Well, these people are stupid. They didn't shit after a
Great.
story.
Huh?
We're just supposed to divide
I mean, after
Go give you a decimal, you change the decimal to a percent. This, remember how I told you guys you can figure out your grades on your paper without me doing it?
Yes.
Yes, but I don't ever do it.
35 divided by 40.
Like, if it's like 1 over 7, for example, you do 7 over 1.
Okay, 29. You guys ready?
hopefully.
30% of those in attendance. Okay, I'm going to pause right there. 30% of, what does that mean?
Times. Multiply.
Times. So what am I going to write?
0.30.
30%
Yeah.
of those in attendance.
Times N.
Times, I'm going to say A for attendance. Attendees, I guess. 30% of those in attendance had never seen lacrosse. So I'm going to say equals no C.
No C.
0 C.
I no C.
There's some, don't tell the English teacher. So 30% of those in attendance are have not seen it before. You guys know what lacrosse is?
Wait,
Yeah.
no C.
Is it like
Yeah.
It's where you have like
See where you have
I
like
know, like
Here.
a sticky or no
a stick with a
There.
gun and you eat it. No,
I-
I see.
I
No, I like no C.
I see
I
that.
like no C, but no C is good.
Okay, let's keep reading. How many of the 400 girls, how many of the 400 in attendance were watching their first lacrosse game? How many of the 400 in attendance were watching their first lacrosse game? So 400 in attendance, what do I do with that 400?
Put it in A.
Right, 400 in attendance. This is how many people attended. So if I plug that in, what's that going to tell me?
The people who have not
People,
seen.
is that the same thing as the people who are seeing it for the first time?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
If they haven't seen it before, they're seeing it for the first time.
Oh.
So if I do 30% of the 400 people in attendance, I will figure out how many are seeing it for the first time. 30% of the 400.
Wait.
But that was surprisingly easy.
Yeah, it gets harder as we go here.
Oh no gosh.
I don't know like that. I just said that.
Could be possible. Well, I don't remember exactly. Shh. So what did you guys get?
I don't know. You multiply.
Well,
Okay.
120.
If I keep reading the question, it says how many had previously seen a game of lacrosse. So how many, if 120 haven't seen it, how many have seen it?
280.
400 minus 120, right? So 280 for that answer.
Wait, does Zimmerman know?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, is that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so you
Yeah, because.
You get written
Yeah.
Hold on.
it was-
What?
World War II,
Did you say
America got
my-
involved
120 have not seen it.
Yeah.
So how many have seen
Like
it?
World War One, it was because of Zimmermans.
So 120.
So,
Yeah.
wait, what's that? So you did 400 minus 120?
Yes. Because there are 400 people altogether.
Oh, which,
This is George. Am I smart?
Absolutely.
No,
We're blind.
that was very sarcastic.
That was completely sincere.
Mm.
Okay,
Big ass.
guys. On 30 it says, the Zimmermans, I'm reading the directions part. The Zimmermans know that they usually average 55 miles an hour when they're driving 750 miles to grandma's. Okay, they leave at 6 a.m. What kind of a problem is this?
Word problem.
I just know the answer.
Really? V equals RT.
Right, it's a distance problem.
Whoa.
E equals RT. Distance equals rate times time. Okay, what it says they average 55 miles an hour. That would be like the what?
The rate.
The rate. They have to travel 750 miles. That would be the what? Distance.
Yeah.
They start at 6 a.m. Does that mean the time is 6?
No.
No. The time is how many hours they travel, not when they start. Okay, number 30 says, what time should the Zimmermans tell their grandparents to expect them to arrive? I want the answer. Okay. I'm going to plug in the numbers they gave us. So 7:15 was the distance, right? 55 was the rate. Okay, what does T tell us?
Time.
The time, what,
It took from.
how long it takes to get there.
Oh.
Is that the question? No.
No.
The question is, what time should their grandparents expect them? So let's say the time was like 5 hours. What time should the grandparents expect them?
11.
Right. If they start at 6 a.m., that's part of the directions. They start at 6 a.m. You guys know what time of day that is?
Morning. Very early in the morning.
6 in the morning. If they start at 6 in the morning, what's 5 hours after 6?
11 a.m.
11 a.m. And once you get to 12, it turns to p.m., right? And then it's afternoon and evening is p.m. Anyways. So, yeah, once you solve for t, you need to add that answer to 6 a.m. to figure out what time. So this is even, so I'm going to let you guys finish it. I will pause for 30 seconds. Do you guys remember, or do you understand what I just said? You can solve this for t, that's the amount of time they've been traveling. They will get there that many hours after 6. So you need to add your time to 6 o'clock to figure out what time they're going to get there.
Will the answer be hours?
The answer would be like 11 a.m. or 3 p.m. or
Wait.
Or
9.
like, what if you've got
No, I'm
like, something
talking
like 13 or like 14? Would it be like
T
what
stands
time?
for, yes, T stands for hours. Because we're talking about 55 miles per hour. This is how many hours?
Not excluding answers.
Huh?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
That's what I have.
Yes.
Damn, so smart. You must be so fast.
Here's a hint, guys. What's 6 a.m. plus 12 hours is what time?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Oh,
6
sorry.
a.m. plus 12 hours
Oh, sorry.
is 6 p.m.
I heard that one.
But wait,
Okay.
what have you got?
Well, the answer is not 12, I'm just saying.
Oh.
31. If they arrive at 9 p.m. So, in other words, on 31, they're saying if they arrive at 9 p.m., what was their average speed for the trip? So they're saying they must not have been going 55 to arrive at 9 p.m. So if they did arrive at 9 p.m., how long had they been traveling?
Well, they could have stopped at a hotel.
Well, they're saying the average speed though, including stops. Like maybe they went 70, but then they stopped to go to the bathroom, and then they started going again. So their average speed was what? Okay, if you start, I think somebody said the answer. If you start at 6 a.m. and go to 6 p.m., how long is that?
12
hours.
12 hours. And then you go to 9 p.m.,
15.
15 hours. So 15 hours is their time. So I'm going to put 15 where T was. I don't know their rate. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What was the distance?
7:15.
Still 7:15. So solve that for their rate on number 31.
So would it be like miles per hour or
What did we get?
Yeah, rate would be miles per hour. This one has a decimal. Yeah, you're right. They rounded it to the 10th place.
Not that bad.
Oh yeah.
They rounded it to the 10th place.
Yeah.
It would be that many
I
miles.
thought I got it wrong.
Miles per hour. They put 47.7 mph.
Yay.
Wait, Mr. House?
Divided using our algebra skills.
Skills.
Skittles.
Stop. Those Skittles.
Skills?
Oh no.
Okay,
It's broken.
32. You guys ready?
Yes.
So since this isn't even, you're gonna have to finish this one on your own. On the way home, the Zimmermans, so they're going back. So what would the distance be again?
So 7:15.
7:50. On the way home, the Zimmermans left at 10 a.m. and they drove an average of 50 miles an hour before they stopped at a hotel for the night at 6 p.m. How many miles do they need to go the rest of the way? All right, if they left at 10 a.m. and they stopped at 6 p.m., how many hours did they travel?
8.
Yeah. 10 to 12 is 2 hours, right? 10 to 12 is 2 hours. 12 to 6 is another 6 hours. So they must have been traveling for 8 hours. So 8 hours would be their what? That would be their time. So remember how we did the arrow diagrams the other day? Like this is how far they went, and they have some more to go to get home. And usually we put a rate and time in for the distance, because distance is equal to rate times time. 8 is their rate. Or sorry, their time. What was their rate? I forgot. 50. So what does 50 times 8 tell us? 400 what?
Miles per hour.
Yeah, that tells us their distance. Rate times time equals distance. 400 is the distance they've traveled. They went 50 miles an hour for 8 hours. 58 is 400 miles. They went 400 miles. So the question is, how much farther do they have to go to get home? Right, what was the total distance?
7:15.
So how much do they have left? I kind of accidentally did the whole thing. Anyway, yeah, just...
Hey, thank you. So that's the entire thing.
Huh,
So you did 7:15 minus what?
400.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Wait, we don't have to be 33.
Yeah, we're jumping to 35, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I added on 42. I didn't have that up there yesterday, but we are going to do 42 as well.
Oh.
We don't have a lot of problems. We should. Neither class got done like 2 minutes before the bell. That's ugly.
We gotta be artistic.
They should at least
Oh,
look somewhat like
Oh,
each
yes.
other.
That's who I am.
My face.
35, yeah.
I'm pretty autistic. Not gonna lie.
That's what Xander keeps calling me.
Oh, she's keeping my face.
Okay, 35. Terrence determined the volume of an object to be 5.6 cubic centimeters. A cubic centimeter is like a little cube that's like a centimeter by a centimeter by a centimeter. Anyway, using water displacement, Vic calculated it as 5.4 centimeters cubed after measuring its dimensions. This sounds like a lot of gobbledygook, but basically what they're saying is one person had 5.6, the other person had 5.4. Determine the percent difference to the nearest tenth of a percent between the two values. Okay, we learned one formula in this chapter. You guys remember what it was? Percent
Percent change.
change, which is basically what they mean on percent. Percent change was what?
Change over.
Change divided by original. Maybe you'll have that be like number one on the test. We'll write the percent change formula.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, it's starting to get old.
Time to spend money.
Now I got a whole pack over there.
Oh.
So we use this a lot. Sometimes it was called the discount rate. That's a percent change, like percent is dropping, or the markup rate on when we did the money. That's a percent change. Or sometimes they just say, what's the percent change? All those are percents, though. Okay, so we're going from 5.6 to 5.4. All right. So what is the change and what is the original? What's the change from this to this? 0.2.
Let me just say that.
Mine's better.
What is the original?
56.
5.6.
Whatever. I hate you. You know what I meant.
Okay. After we divide that, what do we need to do?
Round.
Change it to a percent. We might have to round it too, yes. We might have to round it. But what does that come out to? Give me the big decimal number.
0.03571.
Okay, let's stop there. All right. To change this to a percent, what am I doing?
To a what?
So it's 3.6%.
0.57.
If we round it to a tenth of a percent. All right. 36. A merchant bought a boat for $8,000 and marked it up 15.5%. What is the retail price? So basically, we're starting at $8,000, and we want to move it up 15.5%. You guys remember how we did that the other day?
Times.
We multiplied. We figured out what 15.5% of 8,000 is. Remember, we changed it to a decimal first. That's only worth 0.155. What does that give us?
5, 1, 6, 1, 2, point.
I got 12.
I got the wrong thing, I think.
1240.
Just kidding.
Okay. Does that mean the new price is 1240?
No.
It's just the markup.
Right. That's how much it's going to get marked up. It's not going to go up from 8,000 to 1,200. That's a lot smaller. This is how much it's going to move up.
You add.
So we add.
9,240. And isn't there like another part?
Okay. That's only the first half of the problem.
Oh.
The second half is what would the buyer have to pay if there's a 5% sales tax? If there is a 5% sales tax, basically the price is going to go up 5%. That's how tax works. Like if you bought a $1 candy bar at a store, not in Mr. Odell's classroom, and the sales tax is 8%, which is pretty close. How much are we going to pay for the candy bar? $1.08, because 8% of $1 is 8 cents.
Wait.
So anyway, tax is just like a markup. It just makes the price go up by that much percent. So you guys need to repeat what we just did with the 15.5%, but use 5% instead.
462.
So what does 5% change into?
462.
What does 5% change into?
0.05.
0.05. Gotta move the decimal twice. The decimal is right here, so you have to move it twice that way. So that's After you find out what 5% of that number is, you have to add it back to the number. This is an even, so you have to do it right on your own.
My kid needs spelling.
Thanks for your useful call.
You're welcome. For some reason I inputted divided by R.
All right. What was it?
9 times.
What, nah, let's keep going. 37. So that one should have two answers. The 9,240 was the first answer. Okay. 37. A traveler priced an airplane ticket at $650. He later was able to get it for $400. You guys know where they're going to go with this? What percent did he save?
Change, or
Yes, that's percent change. Change divided by the original. So what would the change be on this one? 250. What's the original? 650. Don't forget to change your decimal to a percent.
Do you just have to round to the nearest tenth, or?
Oh, yeah, you can route to a tenth of a percent. Yeah, that's fine. If it doesn't tell you, you kind of choose.
Okay. I'm tired.
Same.
Yeah, I stay up all night watching. I stay up all night watching Mr. Jordan's videos and like liking.
Oh yeah, I like
That
that.
sounds unlikely.
That
I
content.
I put a post on the group on like the YouTube wall that said, you know, people need to stop talking. I mean, I talk as well, but I mean, people still need to stop. I can barely focus.
Well,
Yeah, that
it's
one's
just a
happening.
moment.
It got very controversial because I
You
got
must-
1 like and 1 dislike, so I'm not sure if that was.
Very controversial.
You,
Okay.
I like your. I bet you like your own post. You're one of those people.
Yeah.
You got that old account.
But there was a dislike and a
You're
like.
screwing up the video. Yes, you
My sister always
Don't
likes
touch.
on people comments.
Okay, 38.
Where's your post?
Yes.
The retail price of a suit was $719. It was later reduced by 33% and then later an additional 67%. What is the price after both reductions? What is the percent reduction of the original price? Okay, so lots to do on this one.
That's gonna make 3 questions.
3 questions. Well, actually, it's kind of like 2 because it says, what's the price after both reductions? So that's just 1 question. Like the final, anyway. Starting out at 719 and we want it to go down 33%. Okay, how do I do that?
Times, like, no,
Yeah, it's almost identical to the last problem. Last problem we made the price go up. This time we're gonna make it go down. So we start by figuring out what is 33% of 719.
237.27.
237 point what?
27.
27. Is that what the price drops down to?
No.
No, that is how much the price drops by. That's the discount. So,
nice trick.
so you guys subtract 237.27. What does that come out to? 41.73. Is that right? Somebody definitely check me on that.
Yeah, I got the same thing.
Mr. Rowan is the best.
Or just peeking at his foot.
Yeah? No, it's not. Because this is not an answer, so that they didn't write it down.
Don't we have to like
Okay.
times 67?
We also need to drop it by 67%. So guess what I'm gonna do this time?
Multiply
So isn't that,
again.
is that not one of the answers?
No, they want the price after we drop it both times.
Oh.
That's one of the answers.
I got 322.75 .7569. I'm not sure that's right.
Oh,
Well-
I got 922.7591.
Okay, we're talking about money, so where should I round it?
10.
To the,
So should it
should
be
be
5?
76.
6.
Yeah.
All right, is that what the price drops down to? Are we done?
No,
No.
we're never done.
That's not what the price drops down to, that's how much the price drops by. So minus 322.76. If you drop a price by 67%, you're dropping you're getting rid of most of the
Would
price.
it be 158.97?
Let's see, yes.
I agree.
That one is in the book.
Hey.
Wait, what did?
Okay. That is answer 1. Question number 2 is what overall was the percent change? Like going from 719 is what we started at, and we ended up with 158.97. Like what percent did it change from here to here?
22.1%.
Changed by original again. So
22.1%.
I'm gonna let you guys do that one on your own. Change
I didn't say
divided
anything.
by original. We're going. Shh. We went from 719 to 158.97. You need to do the change divided by original to find the percent change. I'm gonna pause for a couple minutes.
So it's 719 or 5? Because that's the original.
So are you helping us on all the ones 35 through 40?
Yeah, word problems I do.
Because I was like,
I'm just
why
trying
are we
to-
getting so many answers?
I'm trying to let you guys finish the evens though, on your own. Okay, we've got 3 more.
Why did we do 30?
If the answer that you get from subtracting, you divide by something.
This is just for you. Playing a trick. Why did we do 33?
Because the
Instead of
answer is
32?
Macy, let me help you.
After subtracting.
How do we find out how much how much is it changing to go from 7 to 4?
Subtract.
Yeah.
Let's do it. How much is it changing from here to here? It's that minus that, yeah. So that's the change.
What's this whole change?
You take your answer from that, divided by the original.
What are you dividing?
Because you're turning it into a percent.
Can I look at?
What the trash?
Where's
We
that?
need to kill it.
That's called.
Blowing
That's called nice cuisine.
Okay, guys.
Spiders in
It's like the
my
size of a
country are called-
gnat.
I know, it's tiny.
It's called rare cuisine in my country.
All right, 39.
Asia. Country.
Okay, boys, either kill it or rig roll.
Where's
One or
spider?
two.
Alright.
Okay, Ron earns a 15% commission. Do you guys remember what commission meant?
Like, you're,
It was some sort of math thingy.
you get money for
Yeah, it's getting money for doing what?
Work.
For selling big things like
Oh, yeah, that's-
cars and houses and stuff.
Oh, I see it crawling.
Okay, boys,
Kill it.
It's on a string.
Just
Grant.
Eat it.
Okay. A commission, you get a percent. So if I sold, for example, a $10,000 car, and I get, I don't know, 20% commission, that's too high, but just pretend. 20% of 10,000 is 2,000. So that's how much money I would make. And then the other 8,000 would go to the dealership, basically. So that's commission. Now, what's this problem say? Ron gets 15% commission on his sales in addition to a $1,500 monthly salary. So in other words, he gets $1,500 no matter what each month, plus he gets 15% of whatever he sells. Does that make sense? How do I write that as a thing? He gets $1,500 per month, plus he gets 15% of what he sells. How would I write that?
And 1,500 plus,
15%.
0.15 and.
Right. What does this tell us? This tells us how much he's gonna make per month. He gets $1,500 plus 15% of whatever he sells.
Yeah.
Okay, then it says, I didn't read it the whole thing. It says, lost my place. He determined his monthly sales goal, like how much does he need to sell, if he budgets $3,750. So in other words, he wants to make in a month $3,750. Does that make sense? Okay, and then it's kind of normal math from there, right? What would we do to solve that algebraically? Minus 1,500. Let's see, 2250. Now what?
Divide by 1.
Divided by 0.15.
That's a big amount of money.
Mrs. Gordon.
Yeah.
So whenever you put the N,
Yeah,
why is it?
it's on your leg right now.
What's N?
I see it.
N stood for the amount that he needs to sell. He needs to sell $15,000 worth of stuff to make the money that he needs to make
Okay.
per month.
You announce on your neck.
Okay, number 40.
Oh, you know.
Determine the total amount Victor must repay if he borrows $8,000 at 5% simple interest for 3 years. You guys remember we did a few of these interest problems last week. Remember how we found the interest?
Oh, is it,
Yeah, multiply is correct. It's basically it's just times. Principal times rate times time. PRT. Interest equals principal times rate. Principal means the number, that's the amount of money you start with. Rate is like 3%, 4%, whatever. Time is years. Okay, let me read it again. Determine the total amount Victor must repay if he borrows 8,000. 8,000 would be like the what? Principal. So when you borrow money, you have to pay extra. It's called interest. When you invest money, you get extra, and that's called interest too. The rate is 5%. What do you think I should put for that? 0.05. And the time was 3 years, right?
Yeah.
3. plug that in and see what we get.
1,200.
Okay, so if he borrows 8,000, he has to pay back 1,200 to the bank. Does that seem like that makes sense?
No, because that's.
Well, if you borrow 8,000, would you have to pay 8,000 back, or more than 8,000, or less than 8,000 back?
More than
Right. That's how the bank makes money. You got to pay him back more than you borrowed. So how much does he have to pay back in total?
9,200.
Right. That plus interest. The interest is the extra money that you have to pay. So he has to pay the 8,000 he borrowed plus the interest.
Is that the answer?
Yeah. Sometimes they'll just say, what's the interest? And you would stop right there. Sometimes they just say, what's the total bill? And you have to add that back to the start. All right. One more.
I only have one more cross country meet, and I'm done.
Yeah, I had on 42 just for fun. Because we didn't, they didn't have one of those arrow problems. Remember we did the arrow problems the other day?
Oh, yeah, like those times.
Was
Oh, we did the arrow problems from Zimmermans.
no, the Zimmermans were just D equals RT problems.
They were probably improving the
Well, I
rates.
did draw an arrow once, but I didn't really need to. 42. So remember the way we started this was they're going to give us a couple different distances that we don't know. So we started with an arrow diagram. So before I draw the arrow diagram, I want you guys to try and draw an arrow diagram describing this problem that represents this problem. Julie drives the 120 miles from Greenup to Newton at 46 miles an hour. Beth drives from Newton to Greenup at 34 miles an hour. That's enough for the arrows. What would the arrows look like? Julie drives from Greenup to Newton. Beth drives from Newton to
Opposite
Greenup.
direction.
Okay, they're driving towards each other from opposite directions. So that's the picture. All right. Julie, and what did I usually write, like on the arrow?
Rate time.
Rate of time. I don't know their distance. So instead of putting a distance, I'm going to put in what the distance is equal to, which is the rate and time for both of them. All right, back to it.
Wait, isn't
Julie drives 120 miles from Greenup to Newton. Where should I put 120 miles?
To the overall position.
Overall distance. 120 miles. Then it says, at 46, Julie's driving 46 miles an hour. Where am I going to put 46 at?
Right.
That's her rate. So I'll say the left one is Julie. Yeah, that makes sense. We'll say this is Julie. 46. And how fast was Beth going? 34. That's her rate. Are their times the same?
No.
How long will it take if they leave at the same time? So yeah, the times are the same. Okay, so I'm done. If the times are the same, you just call them both T. Alright, this represents Julie's distance, this represents Beth's distance, this is the total distance. What's the relationship between these three distances?
They all.
If you add 46 to 34 equal
They all equal, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, Julie's distance plus Beth's distance equals total distance. So Julie's plus Beth's equals total. If I remember correctly, this is what the one on the test is going to be most like. Remember they all kind of were a little bit different the day we did this? But I think, I might be wrong, but I think the one on the test is like this one. I will tell you tomorrow. If you can just draw the arrows, that's like at least 1 point. And then if you can label some stuff, that's worth another couple points. And then if you can write the equation, that's another point. And then if you solve it, that's another point. So the more of this you can do, the better. I think you guys can enjoy it. Anyway,
That's 80.
is T the answer? The question is, how long will it take Julie and Beth to meet if they leave at the same time? Will T give us the answer to that? How long will it take?
But you have to
Does
convert
T,
it now.
does T tell us how long it will take?
You have to
Yes.
convert it though, right?
Oh,
T stands for time, so yeah, that's how long it will take. So once you solve that for T, you are good.
But once you have to convert it to like hours.
T is hours.
yeah, 40 Steve.
I just put some on 40, oh wait,